actually really good on Tahm Kench last year. Incredibly good on our champion. And we see the most obvious Blitzcrank play in the history of Blitzcrank plays, and that's the flash trade between AD Carry and Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank just flashes. He doesn't even need to hook because Vinvoice has to immediately flashes as well. So that's basically what you do as Blitzcrank level 1 if you can do it, because now suddenly Vinvoice doesn't have that flash and is actually able to be punished.
We are, of course, going to abuse the iBlitzcrank skin because that is now available on Tournament Realm for some reason. Yeah, so welcome back, iBlitzcrank. I hope your hook did get fixed, because otherwise this is kind of sus. But anyway,
Tree's playing iBlitzcrank.
Yeah. Vinboy's no flash. Colette not gonna, of course, be that basically free flash as he has been in the past, not till level 6. So opportunities for Cerberus to punish. It's like to see Ego starting on the top side, and he's gonna be looking to make his way down there and punish this flash, if at all possible, in maybe a tower dive. And that's a hook straight onto Palette. Palette just body blocking that for Vinboys essentially. And all in all, not much, just a bit of health trade.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens. Ron OP hooks him, he just licks him, and then he walks away. We can also see that, of course, the Glacial Augment has been picked up. In the beginning, it was a bit laughed upon to go Glacial Augment on Blitzcrank because it procs like where you hit the hook. But one, you often want to run at people with E, and second, this happens where you have a
nice slow zone, and yeah, that pulled straight onto the traps. The ignite will be what finds the final kill. And that's first blood straight over to Artemis. To Ron P.
Yeah. Anyways, the Glacial Augment just builds a glacial path in your way, so you have to walk throughout that entire glacial path or walk away the route around it. So good. Anyways, and yeah, I mean, just good hook.
Yeah, I think that minion giving a little bit of false sense of security. That last one being alive. But good hook, for sure.
It's a kill. I'm just surprised because, like, I mean, this is the strength of Blitzcrank, obviously. Like, if you get hooked permanently, then you die permanently. And at this point, the lane will be really not nice for Winboys here. He doesn't have flash still. Artemis still has heal, so they can look for those fights. The wave is bouncing. It's a bit of a disaster, honestly, and that's not good at all.
No, that's not ideal. You do get, once you are able to sort of contend with the wave, you're not quite as limited in your scope of movement and can perhaps fight back. Yeah, but as we move across to check out some of the other lanes, Yado doing just fine on his own. DNK here, so is Ego, so everything's getting ready to pop off, but Ego's sat on a ward. Palette is not going to interrupt him. All is fine for now.
I mean, now they know that DNK is there because DNK placed that pink ward, as far as I know.
I think that was Artemis, Vinboys rather, because he.
Oh, okay, true. Yeah, it couldn't have been the jungler, but anyways. They smelled something, let the wave crash, and Vinvoice and Palette just get to recall for free, though, which is really good for them because they needed that recall. If the wave was frozen, they would have been permanently dead on the ganks or even on the hooks. And now they get to recall. And on top lane, we see two tanks fist fighting each other a lot. And this time we do not see the Mel fight with...
Oh, okay. Hello Ego just makes his way straight into the mid lane and picks up DR1, flashes on both sides, so good flash from Pun to avoid Enper's knockback. But lots of flashes traded, and all in all, one kill to Ego.
Yep. Didn't really see how that happened, but we're gonna in a second. Great flash from Yado, good flash from Ego. I mean, just well executed. That's how you want to play any. You just flash in your W, and you can punish with the Leaf Sin. So well played on them. Just punishing early. And now, DR1 also doesn't have flash, so with the next Q, Yado can look for another gank.
Yeah, now, Pun just letting himself get pushed in. DNK spending a lot of time up here. Just, I guess, doesn't really have much else, anywhere else to be, but not going to be a bit hard to find a gank onto this Malphite, especially now he's hit level 6. He wants to go back. And this time around, from the Malphite, we are seeing the Grasp of the Undying, because he can just actually walk up and hit the other tank. So, no need to go for the Comet.
Yep, and that means he's obviously skating a bit better as well. He also can stack a lot of armor in this game. Obviously, Orianna does have a decent amount of damage for later on, but it's looking like she's going for Red of Ages, so a very limited damage item build for a long time in the game. And that means that the Malphite can just stack armor and be happy with that and just be really tanky. And Ego already looking back into mid lane. Diabondo smelling something, is moving towards Drake and just accepting that he can't be in mid lane right now.
Yeah, his team is all gathered up around the Drake. Jinx has sort of consigned herself to being under tower. So this will be first Drake for the side of SBTC, picked up pretty happily. All in all, most things are even. A little bit of gold to the side of Cerberus due to some kills, but they're not. But it's not a huge lead to sort of get worried about.
Yeah, also I think they're spiking just really hard on 1 to 2 items, especially with the Annie, of course, on 1 item, the Cinder on 1 item, and then you can enable your Jinx, get her 1 or 2 kills, and we see in top lane an ultimate trade between the Malphite and the K'Sante. But on 1 item, you want to just burst people, get kills over to Jinx, and then get Jinx fed, and she carries you the rest of the game, which Artemis, I think, in this game can do easier than in the last game with their failures.
So Artemis has had to flash, and I'm not sure if that was an engage from Palette or such, but now has to be a bit careful. Vinboy's just going to try and crash the wave and hopefully not get hooked onto tower. But as everything's going, this lane has been holding up all right, despite that first kill. Still, even in CS, perhaps going to inch a little bit ahead in theory with this ability to crash a wave. Ego is rather going to grab that. And all's well in the bot side, being able to put their own foot down and put some pressure onto Artemis.
Absolutely. As we still have a pretty slow game. Neither side has really looked towards the Herald yet as well, so no big swaps coming in. Now we see that Winbow is opening up towards the mid lane, now towards the bot lane once he sees Artemis, and now we might see some fighting. Somehow the Tibers is already out, and no flash is blown, so I'm not sure what happened there, but with that priority in mid lane and top lane, Cerberus is moving towards the Herald.
Yeah, it might have been dropped just to try and send Dia back to base, but...
Palette does have level 6 advantage, though.
Good catch onto Rono P, by Rono P. DNK is going to try and do his best. Palette has saved DNK, but straight onto the traps, and Artemis is here to clean up. DNK is going to try and get away. Yado just needs 1. The explosion is enough, and now Artemis is excited, and he's going to try and run through Palette. Yado will die. The shield is enough to keep Palette standing. 1-for-1 overall. And just a jungle for mid laner, so I think SBTC is a little bit happier there. Especially because of Felios left alone.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 4v3, and still it's just a 1-for-1, and that's because Palette already being level 6 while Rono P was not, and we can see that here, because Palette can in the end eat his jungler to save him, and it's such a huge shield, and Palette is so freaking tanky as well. With the Orianna ball on top of that, DNK surviving even longer, Artemis doesn't get that reset, and now look at him like tickling Palette. Palette is really not taking any damage, and Dia 1 could have turned if they chased deeper, so they had to back off.
Yeah, so all in all, the 1 kill, I don't think Vinboys was able to capitalize on the bot lane so much.
I mean, they're 2
plates. Yep. Never mind. I just couldn't see there was a Jinx Pog in the way. So, yeah, Vinboy's able to pick up some gold for himself. He's happy.
He absolutely is. And now another start on the Herald this time. It doesn't look to be contested. Palette isn't there. Top lane isn't there. And that means free Herald here for Cerberus. But again, more platings in bot lane. And Artemis can't really step up to the turret. Has to be scared because Palette is looking. And they might be looking for a dive here.
Yeah, Ron can't even use the ultimate to try and clear the wave just yet. A good hook will land. Actually, never mind, it's just the clone. Good reaction from DNK. I got baited.
Yeah, me too. I really didn't see the real Wukong there anymore, so I got baited as well. But in the end, it ends up only being the clone on Artemis, not really able to capitalize. Another plating is down, and that means more gold for Winboys, which now means he has the Gale Force first. And the last time we saw Jinx playing into a first Gale Force on another carry was Eddie on the Zaya, and we all know what happened there. He just completely ran over the matchup, and we're of course hoping that the same thing doesn't happen again, because it has to be Artemis in those late game fights to carry, and he doesn't have to be the carry right now. He doesn't have to build those items right now. They need Lee Sin, they need Annie, they need Malphite to enable the Jinx to get to those late game fights, but he can't fall behind either.
Yeah, I was definitely hoping a little bit for a bit more aggression coming out of Ego. We saw some good pokes in around that mid lane, but right now, he's still just sort of trying to lacking in his attempts to find something. Can't quite get things started. But another dragon has been for SBTC. They've had just full control. Ego's going to go for the steal. He's not going to get it. And that's a flash blown. Can Ron get a hook? No.
Yeah, DNK was just blocking for his AD carry there, making sure that Winboys could move through, and now we're back on bot lane, back in the status quo, and that's, I think, so far really good for SBTC, as Yado's getting killed.
Yeah, Yado's just going to get killed. Tibbers is going to do his best to get some revenge, but that's not really going to be the case. DNK is going to get soloed out by Ego, but he's going to get traded back for Winboys, but now straight past the tower goes the bot lane of Cerberus. They're going to pick up another. Palette's going to perhaps try and harass them on the way out, but not really going to amount to much. 2 for 2 overall across the map, but some more plates in mid for Dia. SBTC still coming out on top.
Yeah, but also gold for that Jinx, and the Jinx gold is so important. 2 kills now to her, and she is in a position where she can start to really scale into the game. Interested to see if she decides to go for Gale Force, if it's going to be Kraken Slayer for her. Because that's of course also going to decide at which point she really is going to end up scaling. And we see Yado just wants to walk back in the mid lane, thinks that he can trade onto Dia1 with his Tibbers a bit, but Dia1 with a great counter ultimate just gets the kill.
Gotta say, new shockwave animations, a lot harder to see. But yeah, I appreciate this is the aggression I was talking about from Ego. Kind of as I said it, but nice nice collapse from Cerberus too. Get back,
also well played.
Winboys.
Also well played from Winboys to even get that out. And now we're going back into mid lane. Herald has been placed by Ego right before the platings despawn. So I think he actually got solo gold. I don't think Yado did get anything. And we can now see that Palette also is just content sitting in mid lane basically and stopping Ego and Yado from doing anything around that mid lane, because Dia1 is really attackable by any Lee Sin, of course, but not when Palette is around all the time.
Yeah, just the catfish gets to sit around and make sure, just say again my stuff, get my belly. Nothing will hurt you there. If we take a quick look at the top side, Emperor has been slowly gathering a small lead. I don't think he was able to take plate. Oh, Ron, this might be bad. He's going to buy a lot of time with that interrupt, and now if he can find the other hook, there's a teleport from Pun. That's gonna secure the kill. And but there's a good disengage from the ultimates for SBTC, and 1 kill might not really be worth the teleport. See what else they can get. Ego hunting around on the other side for Dia. But right now, still just the one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they wanted to get more, but couldn't in the end. It's a good collapse here in theory, but Winboys, I think, gets eaten by Palette last second, because that ultimate should have hit him. Yeah, last second Palette just comes in, saves his AD carry. Well played from him, and that means that if Winboys had died, I think it's a good play. But like that, it's just going to be a lot of damage towards the top end turret. No platings, and that turret is just is basically dead. It's just a matter of time until they can take it. But Pun is actually beating up on Emperor. And Emperor at some point has to probably ult this.
Yeah, at some point. And Emperor can probably win if he commits the all-out, but as it is, Pun coming out ahead. We did see also Palette did have his flash blown, a good hook from Ron. to cause that. But it's only small advantages for Cerberus. Only 1,000 gold ahead at 15 minutes. Not really anything to concern yourself with, especially with those two Drakes on side. But Alpine is kind of just turned into that lane bully that Malphite can be. So he can just walk up and rock you in the face. Sante not being a big match.
Not yet, at least. One thing we have to say is that for the first time we actually have a pretty useless Drake all around. We have the Cloud Drake, which even for both teams isn't too great. I mean, I think DNK will really like it. Emperor will really like it, obviously. I think even Vinboys might be good with it. So for SBTC, it's actually a decent soul. It's not game winning, but they can use it pretty okay. On the other hand, for Cerberus, I think it's pretty much useless on nearly every champion they're playing. So generally something that both teams won't be too concerned with, as Ron OP is fishing for more hooks, and that's what you have to do. And as soon as one of these hooks lands, you just get a huge advantage on the map, and especially before the strike would have been huge.
Yeah, as it is right now, Yado being caught out once again. DNK is just going to solo kill him. Right now, the Wukong is just that bit stronger, as even though it's one item apiece, Rod of Ages is kind of only half an item compared to the Divine Sunderer at this many stacks. This is going to drop down. It should get a charge. Oh no, it's not going to charge. That's Ego. Oh. Ego is back in the VCS, boys, and immediately commits an Ego Herald. I love it.
I mean, to be fair, the Santa also kicked the Herald out of the way while it was in his animation, which I don't think should happen.
Yes.
It was in charge animation and kicked out of the charge animation and stopped it. With 99% of all throwaways and so on that you can't do on the Herald, it doesn't matter. He just charges anyway. So I'm not sure about that one, but still, it's still pretty funny. And DNK 1-4, not the greatest game, but he had some good catches. For example, the catch on the Annie, but still the Drake is being taken because DNK is dead. And here we see back what happened to Yado, who ults the clone. Not his best play, and that's an 0-3 Wukong, by the way.
Yeah. The Annie does do enough health to get him into a position where Pun can run him down.
Plus 25 just also feels really good, by the way.
Yeah.
And now, bonk. We are bonking those.
Small mercy for DNK. The rocket didn't hit. If that had hit, that would have been an even bigger one for Cerberus. As that goal would have been funneled onto Jinx. As it is, it's one dragon and a bit of turret gold for the side of SBTC. Still just that 1,000 gold lead for Cerberus, as they are continuing to eke ahead a little bit in CS, in the bot lane particularly, and some kills here and there. So all in all, gold funneled into the right places for Cerberus, and still keeping this game super close.
And let's play a guessing game. Oh, okay. Artemis, you are our hero. You are our savior. We will always bow to you. You did not build rapid fire, Ken. I just wanted to ask you. Let's do a guessing game. If he actually builds a rapid fire again in this game, he actually does play the Phantom Dancer. It's really good in this game. Again, you have a lot of front line to hit, so I really like the buy. And now with Infinity Edge on third item, he will be an absolute menace to deal with. Yes, he doesn't have that extra range, but he doesn't really need to against
That's
that
a big engage from Yado, and Ego follows it up perfectly. Vinboys is just removed from the fight. Emperor's going to do his best. He's still quite tanky, but with the all-out removing his resistances, he offers himself up to Cerberus, and the kills keep coming. That's Dia taken off as well, waiting for the wave to take down this turret, but or maybe Ego once more. Just going to settle there. But a huge play from Cerberus, kind of out of nowhere. Oh, hold on.
That's a Cerberus.
Ego gonna get over the wall. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Had to blow flash, but
yeah, but that's the Cerberus we know, right? It's perfect teamfight execution. I mean, that was about as perfect as you could play it. Yado, perfect 3-man flash tibbers. Ego with a perfect follow-up, kicking Vinboys out, and then actually Pun holds his ultimate. And we can see that he will hit Dia 1 in the back end of the fight. You can see perfect tibbers into kick, first kill, And now look at Pan walking in. Other people would have maybe just ulted the case onto there, but he looks for DR1, hits him as well. They get the mid lane on top of that. They move into mid lane, and that's just perfect teamfight execution from the Cerberus side, and something that we were missing in the last game, kinda. Where in teamfights they still looked this organized. They weren't really able to bring that on. And I think a big part of that was also the Annie just being such a teamfight menace.
Yeah, this time this will blow up on the gold lead to about 3.5k. And now that's our first real advantage any team has really had so far in this game. Back to the tanks. We love to watch tanks. I mean, I unironically personally love just watching two fellas beat each other. All Out has been committed, so we're gonna see Enfer try and do his best. It's gonna force the ultimate. Now Palette's here. A third tank has entered the fray, and Pun cannot stand up to the mind of these two tanks.
Yeah, Licky Boy on Palette is just running around, being a menace on himself, and we could see that he was the difference maker, especially with Ignite as well. And in the end, I mean, Pan could have maybe fought that, but his mana was just running out. So he doesn't have enough mana to kill Emperor, which is always a funny thing to talk about. So yeah, that's what happened. On the other side, Non-Nash could be traded. And so it's Cerberus just losing one, and especially giving up a shutdown.
Yeah, anyway, but it's 1,000 gold left here. Gonna try and maintain this top wave, make it a little bit better for SBTC. Whereas Cerberus, they are just trying to focus their attention around getting some vision. The top side. Pun has teleport, he will manage top side. As the Drake is on the table, it is only that cloud, so it's of course not the most important objective in the world. So Cerberus might be able to grab this with relatively little contest, but everyone's still just got eyes only for Baron.
And Artemis is actually not going for the Infinity as third, which I like the decision. He's playing against three basically tanks, especially Wukong against AD champions is a full tank. He is going for that. Dominic's regards will then probably move towards the Infinity Edge, or even a BT if he thinks he doesn't really need the Infinity Edge to deal enough damage, which fair enough I think could also be true in this game, even though I think in the late game he really wants that extra damage, because the Annie, for as much damage as he's dealing right now, is usually going to fall off with the burst damage a bit, especially in too many tanks. So we might see that Jinx has to pick up the slack and has to go for that Infinity Edge to really dish out the damage.
Yeah, as it is, still should be doing just fine with the current Last Whisper. Can help shred through someone like Palette, who just gets picked up by RonOP, gets the interrupt on the dash, and now Pun teleporting straight in on top of Vin Boys. He's going to basically do all the work, but he will get run down there. And now that's 2 picks and the Baron awaiting deliverance. Okay, and Paul wants to fight
GP
this.
is coming in. I mean, I think they have to. I think if they don't fight this, the game is basically over for them. They're not outscaling anymore, and there's nowhere left to turn. They have to take the fight.
Pun is just going to run interference. Ego is going to run even more. Can't get back into the pit just yet. He will now. And then, okay, Artemis is going to be taken out of the pit. Dashes on to the traps, though. Emperor is probably going to get the kill. Artemis is so low. He's going to get Emperor will get one. Ego is doing his best to finish the Herald. Pun will die. 2 Barons are removed, maybe a third if Emperor can keep it going, but he is all out, has finished, doesn't have the damage to carry it through. That's 3 Barons for Cerberus, but that was not the worst play from SBTC.
Oh, absolutely not. They're going to probably take a mid-turret on top, and they might get another Yado for themselves.
Palette's going for it. He's gobbled him up, and that Yado is just going to survive because Artemis has rejoined, and he has completed that Lord Dominic, so he can tear through the front line and get another one back for himself. Get another 2. Where did Dia, I just guess, walk too far forward?
Okay, let's look at this fight again. First of all, Ego misses his Q here, or DNK is actually dead, which then makes it a bit awkward because DNK can now actually get back into the pit. Uses W, Artemis gets kicked out, and has to kite around. Emperor somehow survives, even through the Baron damage, and nearly kills him in the end. Then Yado tries to kill Emperor, doesn't have mana, can't kill Emperor anyways. Emperor is just a battle tank, just runs around, tries to get anything. Jinx then mistakes his own Malphite for an enemy and tries to ult him. But in the end...
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, happens to the best of us. And on the mid lane play, I think Pellet just straight up saved the good Yado there by eating him. I think he was secret agent Pellet and just ate his enemy.
Yeah, definitely not the outcome he was looking for. Definitely, for sure. But DNK now looking for this big sort of wraparound flank. Ego gonna find Emperor on the side. Ron should be able to pull him back in. So all in all, there's the kick. There's the CC chain. He's gonna take a smidgen to die, but he will eventually. And DNK is still sitting in a bush. Sitting in the exact same bush we saw him earlier.
Yeah, I mean, DNK is looking for another catch. It worked once, of course, onto Yado. But since then, he's not really had any impact. Overall, I feel like the Wukongs today, not really with the biggest of impact all around, I think. It has actually been the Lee Sins who have been dominating the jungle mostly. I think we saw one game where Wukong had the advantage. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if the priority on the Wukong is really warranted, at least in those best of threes, because there's always a small difference from day to day. Even if the patch stays the same, two teams can have very different outlooks on the meta, and that can shape a best of three, of course, throughout the series.
Absolutely. Right now, we saw a bit of a late recall from DO1, so this is going to give a lot of pressure for Cerberus. This Jinx Aphelios matchup has definitely only gone one way, and thus far this series, as more turrets do fall, and that will call it for the Baron buff so far, and Cerberus now sitting comfy, 8,000 gold, just looking to finish it off and bring us to game 3.
Absolutely, they do, and it's not gonna be easy to find anything on SBTC's side. Maybe that huge Orianna ulti to change the game. Maybe it's DNK finding the perfect flank engage. K'Sante maybe taking out the Jinx and one-tapping her or something. I think that has to be the hero play here. But especially if you look on the AD carry position, it's completely doomed in items. And as I said, Artemis doesn't really feel the need to actually go Infinity Edge. He has more than enough damage, so he is actually moving towards that BT and able to just pick that up because he doesn't need that Infinity Edge. He just thinks, as more tanky as I am, the more damage I can do by surviving. The only way I die is if I get one shot here, so BT is the right choice.
Yeah, currently working out the engage onto Pun, but Pun can just ult over the wall. It's a good trade, getting that big ultimate out for pretty much nothing committed. Plat's ultimate is down, but I'm not sure why that is.
He took DNK with him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I forgot you can do that.
Yeah, it's... I was a bit confused because suddenly DNK were sitting in the middle of his team, and I was like, where did he come from? But he came out of Palette's mouth, so...
Okay, Ron gonna go look for a fish for a hook and gonna get punished for it. So will Ego. Artemis can't really do much, but now Yado is here. The rockets are raining down, but not quite able to make anything stick. Top town, just a top wave shoved in by Pun. Now going for this Anathema's chains, so he can continue building exclusively armor, and DO1 will still do less damage. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, he could also put it on the K'Sante if he thinks he needs it for the side lane 1v1. But I think putting it on DO1 and second more armor is probably the way here. Good engage though from the Wukong. Really finding a catch there basically onto Ron OP and onto Ego, who were going a bit too deep. I'm not sure what actually kicked him towards... the shockwave.
Shockwave, yeah.
But that shockwave was basically invisible, or am I blind?
No, I think the new shockwave particle effects are impossible to see. Right, please bring back the funny old one. I like that.
Anyways, Orianna, for sure. Good shockwave from her, pulling both people and killing them off. and making sure that you had your first team fight win really in this game, coming back a bit, 6,500 gold between those two teams. And now the Baron target for CES, they want to have SBTC walking, and Ron OP wants to look for that hook. Pun is taking a bit of punishment here in the beginning of the fight. Usually you don't want to stand too far forward as a Mel fight, because you want to, of course, look for the ultimates. Again, it's better if Ego or maybe even Yado takes some punishment instead, and the Mel fight gets to have a free team fight.
Here comes the Shirelius. Gonna find a 3-man knock-up is Pun. Gonna fly straight in. Big ultimates coming out from Dia and Vinboys, though. Artemis is still going to survive on the backside, trying to cut through Emperor before he does him, and he will succeed. Pun now trying to chase out Dia. Justin needs a little bit more. Dia will survive, but DNK will not. And that is a 4 for 1. Ego gonna look for a hunt. There's a teleport. Can he find him? No, he can't.
I want to highlight Ego again. I'm pretty sure that Ego basically found the perfect kick onto Vinboys again. In the middle of that fight, Vinboys suddenly flying towards his own AD carry, flying towards Artemis, and getting one shot immediately. AD carry down, and we're in a reset for Artemis, just deciding the fight immediately.
Yeah, Baron taken off. Baron will be taken off the board now. And with that, they can just reset, pick up a free Drake as well. We're just going to see how this happens again. It's a good start from Pun.
Absolutely.
Where's
Ego.
Oh,
wait,
no.
How did
Vinboys Gale forced into it after the ultimate combos.
Oh, okay. I thought Ego was surfing it, but the Vinboys was running it. My bad.
Okay.
I just saw Vinboys flying in. I just saw Vinboys flying into Artemis, and I was like, Ego did something incredible that I didn't see.
No.
Well.
No.
Whenever I believe in players, I'm just wrong. You know, that's why I should keep on flaming players instead. Also, funny story about that Infinity Edge. Artemis just decided to sell his Vamp Scepter and buy Infinity Edge instead. So
yeah,
that happened.
Fair enough. Cerberus still has some time on this Baron. They're not quite sure what to do with it, though. They don't want to split up at all, it looks like, but they can't quite shove in these waves and make it happen. So Baronov just kind of sitting around doing a lot. Okay, DNK, can Ego find the angle? He's going to kick him into the wall, rocket from downtown, and there goes DNK once again.
Yeah, that should probably be the angle where they get some turrets, especially in top lane. Now the wave is pushed in. They can take that tier 2, then probably tier 3, get 2 inhibs at least on this Nash push. They still have a minute 20 left.
Oh, that hook was on top of Dia, I swear. But anyway, Dia doesn't get hooked. But it doesn't matter, the push is still enough for Cerberus. They can clean up 2 inhibs. Don't think they can end.
No, they should not be able. Maybe they find the hook, maybe they find the engage. Emperor is already taking some punishment here.
Ego's going to go straight in. Dia is going to be kicked the wrong way. That's 1 tower down. Ego is surviving. Huge engage from Pun. Going to pick up 2 in the knock-up. Ego goes straight back in and gets knocked up by Emperor. Emperor is trying desperately to kill Artemis. It's not going to happen. Another poor Palette taken far away from his team. And now Cerberus will run it down, and game 3 is on the horizon. 6 games today, and whew, they have been a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, they definitely have, even though I think this game was pretty decisive from start to finish.